Anya O'Gorman, good morning.
Morning, Colin.
119 Republic of Ireland caps, 13 goals. Where are the caps?
The caps, yeah, so the gold cap actually, I got put in a little nice glass cabinet, so that's sitting at home. But then a few of the caps throughout the campaign, a few scattered in my mum's house in a trophy cabinet, yeah. So obviously proud of every time I played for Ireland, and obviously my 100 cap was special.
Yeah, so the 100th cap was 2018, and that was your first retirement.
Yeah.
Was that because you got to 100 and you were like, oh, that's me now, that's it?
Yeah, I think so. It was the end of a campaign. We played Norway away, had the 100 caps. Been playing the international team since I was 16. Obviously, everything that happened in 2017 as well. Liberty Hall, the stand we made obviously against the FAI. For me, I just felt like I'd given everything I could at the time. There was younger players coming through and emerging through the ranks. So for me, it was just the right time to step down.
You're happy out with your retirement, 2018, everything's going well. Then February 2020, Vera Pauw says, Anya, come on, let's get band back together for one last time.
Yeah, I think I was content with my retirement. Obviously the management had changed and Eileen Gleeson had gone in as assistant coach, who have a good relationship as well. And yeah, then I just get the phone call off Vera, would I be open to coming back? Struggling kind of with injuries and stuff in full-back positions at the time. So look, I grabbed the opportunity with two hands, went back in, and the first game was at home in Tallaght against Greece.
But it fascinates me because you're content in the first retirement, and there's nothing in the next year and a half or so that makes you think, oh, I'm missing this big time. So you don't even, maybe in your mind you don't even think, oh, I'm missing something here, but when the manager asks you, is it because like you feel like, oh, I'm going to always owe my country a favour and I'll always represent my country if I can, or did Vera Pauw awaken something in you that you didn't realise was still there?
Yeah, I think probably the little break did me the world of good. It just gets that fire back in your belly. I think it was maybe the mental reset I needed as well, just to get back and enjoying your football. And I think when the opportunity came, we just had to grab it with two hands. Probably felt that maybe we were on the cusp of doing something special.
Yeah, and it turned out to be the case. Like Southampton, Scotland, October 2022. And in this game, like when you're covering sport every day, every week, you can just let events pass you by, but that was one of those ones where everyone watched it that night and then the next morning it was the only show in town. But you were the only player on that pitch who started playing domestically in Ireland, and you started right at the top of a tree with Katie McCabe and Heather Payne, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So talk us through when you're selected, are you expecting it and what are the feelings from that?
Yeah, so I hadn't started a game in quite a while. Yeah. So look, I think it was just about being patient and just keep doing the right things and training, always helping your teammates prepare for games. And the opportunity came. We were a few days out from, and I was put in the starting team. You can start to see how the shape comes. I was on the right wing, and I just think I took the opportunity, and Vera trusted me then to go on and I suppose bring my experience into the game. And I remember just sitting in the change room before being like, this is a great opportunity, but like, look, I know my job, I know my task now, like, just do the best you can, enjoy it, because we're either going to a World Cup or this could be potentially my last time playing for Ireland again. So, yeah, look, grateful for the opportunity. Yeah. What a buzz that night was, like, that's definitely the best night in football of my whole career, like even the celebrations, everything.
Celebrations, yeah, I'm sure that ended up making the news afterwards, the celebrations and all that. Yeah. But even that kit from that night against Scotland at Hampden Park, the kit you're wearing, that like that's iconic already. Like we have a picture of Amber Barrett celebrating. It was both poignant and exhilarating at the same time. But before that goal was scored, Anya, you have this amazing chance against Scotland at Hampden Park. Talk us through that opportunity. What happened?
Yeah, obviously Katie went down the left, put a great ball into the box, and I could see it coming in, and then just put it over the bar. And yeah, look, it was probably an opportunity that I would have probably dwelled on a lot if Amber hadn't came on and scored the winning goal. But at the time, look, you get an opportunity, you have to get on with the game. What's my next action? What's my next task? So, and then we won the game, so there wasn't too much time to dwell on it. But look, it probably would have been a good moment for me, but it's about the team and we got the win.
Well, your description of your mentality there and not dwelling on it, I spoke with quite a few of your current teammates, ex-teammates and coaches beforehand, and they all said the same thing. It was like Anya O'Gorman's biggest strength is her mentality, so if she misses an opportunity, she acts as if it doesn't happen at all. And then what happens, of course, if all your teammates start naming all these chances that you missed? It was like,
there's a lot of them,
no problem.
There's a lot of them.
But that mentality does genuinely separate the good from the great. And those people are talking to me, the likes of, say, Karen Duggan and Scarlett Heron, Maeve de Burka. Karen Duggan again came back around for the second time and said it. If I miss that opportunity, I'm thinking about it. The difference with Anya O'Gorman is she acts like it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and it's something that I do say to a lot of younger players. I'm like, no matter what happens, it's about your next action. Whether you did something good or something bad, it's about what you do next. And to me, and I always tell them this, and they're like, that's easier said than done. And
it's the easiest instruction to give and the hardest to implement.
Yeah, and it probably took me a while to realise that, because that was something that I was always capable of doing, just going on with your next action. What's your job now? What's your task? Another opportunity will come, and just having that belief that there will be the next opportunity to score a goal or whatever it might be. And I think, obviously, I had a hard time in Ukraine, and I put the ball in the net, and all their moments as well, and it probably would have been easy to sink in that moment as well. And I think that kind of builds resilience.
Do you, like, I wasn't even going to go there next, but you mentioned it, the Ukraine own goal. Do you still think about those moments? I speak to sports people, and they always tell me they remember the bad times a lot more than they want to, and especially like really successful sports people, because you have so much to think about in the positive that we will get there. But do you still think of that moment, or can you park it?
I can park it now. I think at the time I did, it was a difficult moment in my career. But to bounce back from it, I think you just have to have character and resilience. And went out to train, and we went to Glasgow actually to play in the Champions League, and I missed a penalty, and we lost out in the penalty shootout at the end. And I was just like, that's just another sucker punch. But then a few weeks later, we went out, I was playing with Peamount, we went to play Shelburne. Last game of the season, if you won the game, you would have won. We went 1-0 down, got a free kick opportunity, scored the free kick, Karen Duggan scores a goal, I scored again, and we win the league. And you're like, you have to take, I suppose, the lows to feel them highs as well. But in my approach to everything, I'm quite steady anyway. I usually don't get too high or too low. I'm just quite balanced.
That Scotland game at Hampden Park again, Denise O'Sullivan picks up the ball in the middle of the pitch, and I remember watching it. I remember where I was watching it, and Anya, I was thinking, like,
she should give me
Anya
a ball.
O'Gorman's on here on the right. It's not Amber Barrett. It's not Amber Barrett at all.
I'm always just a decoy. Yeah, I know. I was like, Denise. But obviously, it was a pinpoint pass through, and you can't fall Amber. And what a special goal and a special day.
Yeah, it was the first touch and the finish as well. And then, so you fast forward to Australia, and that game against Australia on that Thursday morning for us in Ireland, and it was like the whole place stopped. Everyone stopped to watch this. Talk us through the national anthem being played at that moment with the stadium absolutely packed. Was it the biggest crowd you had played in front of, and all that, and all those feelings?
Yeah, amazing. Like, obviously, I didn't start the game. I was on the bench, and I remember everyone just saying, like, just take some of it in, soak it up, because as a player and an athlete, you're just focused on the game and what's next and what's to come. You don't actually enjoy the moment. And I remember just lying down for the national anthem and just the hair standing up on the back of your neck, and what a moment.
Yeah.
So many Irish, the Irish crowd over there, just unbelievable.
Do you mind me asking about the end of Vera Pauw's reign? Like, what do you think happened? Was it just a disconnect between Vera Pauw herself and the squad? Is that too simplistic an angle from the outside looking in? Like, we know the Diane Caldwell comments and all that, and the aftermath, but I remember the O'Connell Street homecoming, and Vera Pauw's dancing on stage next to the squad, and everyone's quite happy, but within days and weeks, it's all over.
Yeah, look, I think Vera did an incredible job.
Yeah.
You can never take away from her. She got the team to the first ever World Cup. I think obviously she brought me back into the squad as well, which I'm really, really grateful for. Maybe it was just a decision. I think that maybe we'd reached the level we could reach with Vera at the time. But you can never take away from, I think, what she did for the team and the country.
Does it still sound like a compliment when I say it to you, like, you got 119 caps, and save for 2 years, you played all of your football domestically? Would you see that as the greatest achievement? Because, you know, you didn't go abroad, you didn't go where the majority of the squad now is, that they have opportunities in the UK and beyond, in America as well. And you had your 2 years, in 2012 you went to Doncaster Rovers Bell, and you came back on loan to Peamount as well after, I think, a year. So do you see that as a real badge of honour, that you were able to accomplish everything you did while remaining in the country?
Yeah, I think so. I think it takes a lot of hard work and dedication as well. Like, I would have obviously did my training with my club team, but would always been conscious that I would have to do extra sessions, whether it was on my own or go train with a boys team once a week as well. And obviously then coming up to the World Cup year, we had the home-based sessions as well. We play a boys team most week as well. You have to be conscious that you need to be at the level that you can perform and give the best opportunity when you go into the international setup to play.
What was it like when you went over to Doncaster? Because you're playing professional football. Is it a huge difference in your lifestyle, or is everything kind of the same?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the first year the WSL as well, so I got the opportunity to go over to Doncaster, which is one that I couldn't turn down, to play against some of the best players. And I think the difference is as well, like you're not at home, you don't have your family around, you have a lot of downtime as well, off the training pitch, to recover and refuel. Which is great as well, but it can be difficult as well when you're used to being so busy, and I enjoy being busy as well. So I think that I suppose that change was difficult for me, and probably one of the main reasons that I decided then to come home. But since then, the opportunities for the players to go away are huge. You can even see the development in the WSL since then.
A big part when we were speaking with Julianne the last few years is parenthood matched with being a sports person, and that feels like it's come on a lot, isn't it? That there's more of an acceptance of it. It's like, yes, you are able to be a parent, you're still able to fulfill your potential as a sports person. I feel like that wasn't always the case. Maybe not so much, but do you think it's improved the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Julianne's led the way in that as well. Obviously, Rosie was in camp, husband Kieran, obviously great support around her as well. And obviously, I have had James when I was playing as well.
Yeah.
You rely on the support of your partner and your family and everyone around you to make it happen as well. But yeah, I think huge strides have been made, and I think that's right across the board. You'll see in women's sport and women's football around the world that more women are able to go take their time out, have children, get the maternity benefits they need, and then return to play. Yeah, I remember just going up to my first training session, just being a bit of a haze. But,
it's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously everything's overwhelming, and look, it's great. And then my first game with James, I can't quite remember, but I do know I get a free pass the night before a game. So, get a solid 8 hours sleep in the spare room.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Yeah, it's good having a spare room for that.
That helps massively as well.
It massively does.
Yeah, you just have to be mindful, I think, to probably look after yourself that a bit more, make sure you eat good food, get the rest you can when you can, control what you can control. Some nights you might not have a great night's sleep, and that's just the way it is. You just have to get on with it. And I think obviously James was born, and then we qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Shortly after, 6 weeks or so after, and then we were off to Australia as well, and he was 1 when we were in Australia too. So yeah, that was a big year. It was a busy year. But look, I'm just grateful for all the support around me, I think, to make it happen.
So were James and Rachel with you in Australia at the World Cup?
They didn't actually make it out in the end. The plan was to come out, and then James turned 1, and it was just, I think, just logistically too difficult and too far away and around. But I had only family. My mum and dad were there, and my brother got married, and his wife and 2 kids were there as well. So it was special.
Scored a hat-trick in the FAI Cup final in 2010 for Peamount, and I was on the phone to Julianne and said this, and she interrupted. It's like, yes, I remember, yes. Because it was against Julianne's team. And I was going to ask you, like, what's your greatest moment in football? You've won the Golden Boot 5 times domestically, including 3 years in a row, not too long ago either. And then 1 year you get Player of the Season. Which is a better feeling?
Yeah, I think the Player of the Season award is probably voted by the players in the league as well, and yeah, I think that's the one that stands out to you. The Golden Boot, there's obviously a lot of factors come into play. Obviously, you rely on your teammates to assist you and set up chances.
Golden Boot 5 times, so it's like, well, you're a striker, but you've played everywhere except centre half.
Yeah, I don't know if I fancy. I might be a bit rash in centre back. I might go bombing on forward, leave too many gaps at the back. Yeah, look, I started out my career as predominantly as a centre forward, a little bit on the wing. Obviously, featured a lot for Ireland in the full back areas as my career.
You did.
Went on. I remember at one moment stands out for me. We played in Portugal. Yeah. And I started centre forward and I scored a goal, and then Megan Campbell had to go off injured, and then I ended up playing left back.
Megan.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean, because I was speaking with Sue Ronan.
Okay, yeah.
Who would have been your second manager, Republic of Ireland. So Noel King gave you your debut in 2006 in the Algarve Cup, and then Sue Ronan comes in 2010, is it? I think around then. And I said to Sue, was it yourself that moved Anya O'Gorman to full back? And she said, yeah. I still remember Anya's face when I told her she was playing full back.
Yeah, I think obviously we just need to cover in them positions. And
Yeah.
look, I'm always happy to help the team whatever way I can. And for me, the main thing is just that I'm on the pitch.
I feel like if that was me, I'd be like saying to the manager, what do you see in me that you want me to go full back? Were you a question asker of your manager's instructions?
No,
or
I
did you
think
get
I
on
was
with
just told like you have the speed and the recovery to play in that position. So
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Off you go. So.
Yeah. So you were,
Off
delighted, you were,
went,
you were delighted with it.
It probably
altogether.
prolonged my career a little bit, to be fair, to be able to play
Yeah.
in that full back role.
Yeah, yeah. I heard that one of your teammates said that they could have a slump for weeks or months. The most I've ever seen on your Gorman slump was for 20 minutes, and she might have got the ball in that time, and that was it. There's this kind of you're just energizer within you. And does that come naturally?
Yeah, I think so. I just have a lot of energy.
That's some gift to have, isn't
yeah,
it?
even when I'm home, I just have to be doing something like I'm not great at sitting down.
You're doing your A license now, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing coaching. So is that where you see your future? Like, will it be in football when you eventually stop playing?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think I'd like to obviously give back. I'm very passionate about football here in Ireland, and I'd love to be able to give back to football in Ireland and help the younger players coming through as well and share my experiences.
Where do you think the women's game is at the moment in Ireland?
Yeah, look, I think obviously off the back of the World Cup, I don't know if we've capitalised enough on it, to be honest, Colin, which is a little bit frustrating. I think 3 years ago, Shamrock, the professional status of the league came in, obviously Shamrock Rovers came in and professionalised it, and it's taken now to the third year where I think Athlone have only started to give professional contracts to players, and I think for me that's a little bit frustrating. I think maybe more leadership needs to come from the top down to make that happen, just to improve the standard, albeit the standard of the league is improving all the time. There's some really good, young, talented players, hungry players coming through.
What do you think the relationship is like with the FAI and the women's game in general? Because look, the FAI, there's lots of complaints about them, and some of it's very valid as well, and it feels that they are trying to grow the game, but do you think the pace is too slow, or it's just not happening at all? Are there blind spots?
Yeah, look, I think women's football globally is probably one of the fastest developing sports, so yeah, look, we are trying to develop, but maybe sometimes it is a little bit slow, and we need to accelerate that development as well, and because we've more girls playing football now than we ever have before, so it's just providing them with the opportunities to reach their level if they do want to go on and excel and play for Ireland one day.
I saw an interview you did with, you were interviewed by a child recently, a keen footballer, and she was asking about your mentality and your approach and all that, and one of the things you said you do is you watch back your games and you analyse where you could improve, and then you go out and practice and improve. But that latter part of that statement, is there enough of that happening with young girls playing football? Like, do they play enough? Is there enough practice happening? Can they develop the skills? And I guess more importantly, is there the infrastructure for them to improve their skills?
Yeah, like I think contact time's always going to be an issue, isn't it? Throughout football in Ireland, and I think obviously the academy structures that they're trying to bring in should improve that contact time with young players, and hopefully what the boys do, the girls will simulate it as well. So both boys and girls, young boys and girls, will get the same opportunity to develop as they need to. But yeah, look, we can't just put it all back on clubs and contact time as well. Like, a lot of what you learn is by yourself in the garden. Like, there's not enough free play, I would say. Like, I used to just rip my brother out at the house all the time, get him off the PlayStation between two sticks in the garden and mill balls at him and get him out the time he running up and down the driveway. So yeah, look, I think there is a bit to go, but the society is probably changing. There isn't that free play zone anymore.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe we need to take a little bit more responsibility for that.
I think you're right. Like, even anecdotally, even growing up in the estate I was, there's a green area up there, and we all played there every second of the day when it's nights out in the summertime. I look up there now when I go back to Cork, there's no one up there anymore. It has changed the way we play.
Yeah.
I do wonder that. But look, having said that, we've made great strides, like you said, in the last decade. And maybe 2 years ago was the peak, and we're kind of coming down a bit from it now. But Jesus, we're a mile away from Liberty Hall 2017. A mile away from that. So that, look, people remember it all. Remember the images of yourself and Emma Byrne and Karen Duggan. That was always coming, right? It had to come. Was there a moment in particular, like, all right, we can't take this anymore, we need better conditions? Or was it, I guess, a culmination over time that eventually you're going to do something, and it happened to be that day in Liberty Hall? How did it come about?
Yeah, I think it was accumulation of years of just moaning and not actually doing anything about it. You know, like we probably felt like we weren't reaching our levels, what the players we had and what we could achieve. We weren't getting the resources to do that. So yeah, I think it just took a few of us that were home base to go sit down and have a chat with Steve McGuinness and the PFAI, and I just think it all took off from there. And I think it's something that the players that were there can be very proud of, because I think it has changed the game and it's probably given us the resources and the support and the backing there the FAI do give the team to go on and reach major tournaments like the World Cup.
It's like the bravest thing to do is sit in that press conferences when so many people are telling you it's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you know, like you're talking about, say, the Scotland game at Hampden Park or playing against Canada in the World Cup, where you're maybe more nervous than you usually would be playing a game because it's so massive and you have to, you know, trust yourself that you'll be fine. But sitting in that press conference that day in Liberty Hall in 2017, was that particularly nerve-wracking, or were you like, no, this is the right thing to do, I'm excited?
Yeah, I think we knew it was the right thing to do, but you're completely out of your comfort zone, aren't you? You didn't really know how people were going to react, and I think the reaction and support the Irish public gave us was second to none.
If that day didn't happen in 2017 in Liberty Hall, do you think that the progress would have been made regardless? Do you think it was somewhat inevitable, or did something like that have to happen? Because that's seismic if you think about it. Like, you had to do that in order for the good times to come, which is mad when you think about it.
Yeah, look, we'll never really know the answer to that question, will you? Like, the players were obviously coming, and a lot of players going abroad to play football, and I think that's massively helped as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've Denise over in America, lots of players playing in WSL and the Championship as well, so obviously that helps the Sanders and the international team.
Where's your award for the Puskas assist?
I have a little cert at home. Yeah,
You know where I'm going with this?
No.
So Stephanie Roach scored one of the all-time great goals. It comes second that year in the Puskas Award. But I mean, Stephanie Roach didn't just pick up the ball from nowhere on you.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Oh, it was just a great assist. Yeah, drilled the ball into her and stepped out with it well. And obviously, yeah, that was a great day and a great moment. And I think we can thank that a lot as well for putting women's football in Ireland on the map.
It was massive. Like, where does Stephanie rank in terms of players you played with and like technical ability? I always love asking people that. You know, it's like the best players you played with.
Yeah. Like Steph is second to none. I think, and we've a great relationship off the pitch and on the pitch. We're kind of telepathic in how we can play together. We've always been able to find each other on the pitch and set up goals, score goals. And obviously Steph retired last year, so I do miss her on the pitch. I think being able to find me with a pass, and but she's still around in the coaching staff, which is great. And I always just joke with her, like I was the legs and she was the technical brains behind the operation.
And you'll take that.
I'll take that partnership. Look, it is what it is. You have to. All day long it worked.
Yeah. So who was the best player you played with?
Olivia O'Toole.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I think I was a young player, came into the squad at 16.
Yeah.
Olivia was probably at the other end of her career, but she was just so special. Like we talked about earlier, kids not playing out in the street. She was just a real street footballer.
I love that, yeah.
Could score goals all day. For her size and her stature, could win headers. It was just, I just learned so much, I think, just from watching her.
You scored a hat-trick for Ireland.
I did.
Montenegro. One of Sue Rowland's last games.
Yes.
Do you know who else scored a hat-trick that day?
Stephanie Roach.
Stephanie Roach, yeah. Stephanie Roach. So, like, take Iran Naveen aside and Australia in the World Cup, but what's your favourite moment in your 119 caps for Ireland? Like, because a hat-trick is class. You captained the side.
Yeah, look,
I'll
go with the hat-trick. I'll go with the hat-trick taking the Hampden Park, Iran Naveen playing on the World Cup side. Yeah,
it's hard. Yeah. It's a good list to choose from. It's a nice on Wikipedia you have there for yourself. Yeah. It would be easy for you to have somewhat of an ego. It would be very, I'm sure you would say the same to someone else if they had your achievements, and like, that's the thing, talking to everyone that you played with is all that. It was like, you wouldn't know it without it, that you will talk to anyone. And where does that come from? Is that like how you were raised by your parents? Was it always natural in you how to treat people?
Yeah, I think it's how you're brought up, isn't it?
Yeah.
You always stay humble, I think, always work hard at whatever you do, and whatever you throw yourself into, give 100% and be nice to people, and just don't get carried away with yourself.
Yeah. You're a big fan of the card game Werewolf?
Yes,
I've heard.
I am. Yes, and I actually seen on Instagram the girls were playing it the other night, so that was a proud moment.
And is this you? Did you start this off, and they've continued on the trend?
Yeah.
So that's your proudest moment. Yeah.
I was delighted with that, actually. I was like, the girls are still keeping up the tradition.
Before we wrap up, what you make of Carla Ward and the Republic of Ireland now, and how it's going overall?
Yeah, I think her personality is quite infectious. I think we're going through quite a transition period at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously trying to switch from a back five to a back four.
Is that a big deal, by the way? Switching from back five to back four?
step away and I say it shouldn't be, because it's traditionally what most people grew up playing, and it's what a lot of people would play in their clubs.
Yeah.
But just after speaking to Amber Barrett last night, she seemed to think it was a bigger change for the team, because we've always been that team that's just been hard to beat, maybe a little bit more direct, and I think maybe we're trying to change that style a little bit, be a little bit more possession based, expansive, which can leave us a little bit exposed at the back. And I think as a consequence of that, we have conceded some goals. So I think Carla wants us to be patient with it. I suppose enjoy having the football as well. With that though, I think we need to build on it. We need to be a little bit more threatening up front. I just think based on the second game against Greece last night, we just lacked a little bit of ideas in the final third.
Well, if you got a call now, for instance, for argument's sake, if Carla Ward picked up the phone and said, Anya, third time's a charm.
No, like, look, I think in myself I still feel quite fit and able to play. I still have the same mentality I always did, but I'm happy with my decision. I think the second time round to retire on a high after the World Cup, I think the team's obviously gone through a transition moment with the recent retirement, and Niamh Fahey as well, Diane Caldwell. So yeah, no, I'm happy to take a step back.
Anya O'Gorman, thanks so much for chatting with me today, and best of luck with everything.
Thanks, Colin, it's been a pleasure.